Why does learning feel so boring when it used to be so exciting? Why is it that some people devour new books every day, while for you, it feels like a struggle? Maybe you were curious as a child, you were eager to explore the world around you, but now that love for learning has faded and it feels like a chore. So that's it. I'm not the curious child I used to be. My eyes don't spark at the sight of a new encyclopedia, a thrilling DIY project, or a complex puzzle. I lost my curiosity as well as my childhood. They're both gone forever. Well, not so fast. You did not lose your curiosity. In fact, your curiosity is stronger than ever. Look at the TV shows you're watching, news you're reading, TikToks you're scrolling. You're excited to learn all of this new information. So you do have love for learning. It's just not the type of learning that we all strive to have. Instead of learning driven by escapism, we want to be excited for science, technology, philosophy, or just skills that help us grow. So, in the first part of the video, I want to talk about why we lose our passion for learning in the first place, and then tell you how I personally got out of it. So, when I came to university as a freshman, I made a big mistake. I decided that academic performance is going to be my main metric of success. And I wasn't actually interested in the subjects that I was studying. I was just learning whatever was on the exam, only for the sake of my final grade. So I've started feeling uninspired, mentally drained, and just wanting to get homework out of the way as soon as possible. My entire mindset towards learning became unhealthy because I was only focused on the grades. And instead of trying to find genuine excitement in the subjects that I was studying, I was solely driven by the need to perform well academically. And this approach left me disengaged and completely disconnected from the joy of learning. Many people have said that the school system is guilty for making students unmotivated because it reduces you to a statistic and it turns education into a numbers game where instead of being driven by your genuine interest and curiosity, you end up chasing approval, rankings, and validation. It's no surprise that so many people feel burnt out and uninspired. And when that burnout hits, it's very important to have the support you deserve. Which brings me to today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who's trained to listen and offer you helpful and unbiased advice. Whether you're dealing with burnout, stress, or you just need someone to talk to, BetterHelp makes it easy for you to find the right therapist. First, you visit their site at betterhelp.com/Olga, and after answering a few questions, BetterHelp will match you to a therapist who has years of experience helping people with similar struggles. You'll usually be matched with a therapist within 48 hours, so you can get started fast. And if for any reason you are not connecting with your therapist, switching to another one is also very simple. One of the things I personally love about BetterHelp is the convenience of their service. I can have the therapy session from anywhere, from my bedroom, my living room, even when I'm traveling. You can choose between audio calls, video calls, messaging, whatever makes you most comfortable. And it's basically the easiest possible way to start talking to a therapist. So if you're ready to take that step, let BetterHelp connect you to a therapist who can support you. So visit the link in the description at betterhelp.com/Olga or choose my channel, Olga Loic, during sign up and enjoy a 10% discount on your first month at BetterHelp. And thank you again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. So yes, school often leads to burnout. But in my case, losing my passion for learning wasn't the school's fault. It was my fault. I was constantly pushing myself into these computer science, mathematics classes that I didn't actually enjoy, largely because I was surrounded by people who wanted to become software engineers in the future, and I thought that I'm going to do the same thing. I had this romanticized idea that engineering was somehow the better path, even though it did not align with my interests. Instead of pursuing subjects that I genuinely enjoyed, like behavioral sciences, like cognition, consumer neuroscience, I fell into this engineering rabbit hole without any real passion for it. Naturally, I burned out because I was forcing myself into classes that didn't excite me and they barely touched my genuine curiosities. I had to step back and ask myself, what do I actually enjoy? And that turned out to be the hardest and most important question. Just ask yourself, have I been lying to myself, romanticizing the idea of this specific subject, even though deep inside I knew that it doesn't fit me? So, the most important part is to find what actually excites you, rather than what you think should excite you. So we need to find intrinsic motivation within us, reasons beyond extrinsic rewards that we get in school. And to understand how to do it, let's explore self determination theory, which is an idea in psychology that explains why we do what we do and why we're motivated to do certain things but not do the others. This theory suggests that our motivation is shaped by three fundamental needs, which is a need for autonomy, competence, and relatedness. And if any of these is not fulfilled, we're starting to lose motivation and we're starting to lose interest. The first pillar, autonomy, is the sense of control of our own learning. I remember back in high school when we were learning Greek mythology during literature class, and I felt like it was such a chore. Always having to memorize who's the god of what, which hero did what, and these like endless lists of events and names. It all seemed very dry and very disconnected from reality. But now, I would be happy to watch a YouTube video about Greek mythology. And the subject stayed the same, but the difference between me now and me back in high school is that now I want to learn it because I'm choosing to do it myself, not because someone else in my school demands that I do. And I'm not forced to memorize some arbitrary facts either. I can just learn what I'm curious about and move on. The second fundamental need is competence. And if you're learning something that is way ahead of your current skill level, you're naturally going to get anxious and you will not want to do it anymore. So, in my first year of university, I had this habit of signing up for advanced classes, and I was thinking that it would push me to grow. And it did. I did learn a lot in a very short time frame. It's just instead of it feeling like a healthy challenge, it made me overwhelmed. It became a draining struggle because you cannot build a house without a foundation. And even if you do succeed in jumping to more advanced topics early on, you still will not have a full understanding of the basics. On the flip side, if something is too easy, you're going to get bored and unengaged. So the key is to find that sweet spot where the task is challenging enough to push your abilities, but still within your reach. So you feel accomplished because you're progressing and you're not bored because you're actually learning something new. Third, we have a need for relatedness, and it's the need to understand how the material that you're learning fits into the world around you, into the broader context of your life, and how you can actually use the skills that you gain in the future. And the issue here is that very often in school, you're required to learn things that you might actually never use. For instance, when you're told to memorize the exact dates all the events in your history class, there's obviously no relatedness. That is why it's so difficult to find joy when you're learning these things, because in what possible situation am I ever going to use or need these numbers? But if what you're studying connects to your personal goals and it helps you solve real world problems, it becomes much more engaging. Based on self determination theory, we experience joy and interest to learn something if we feel autonomy, if we have enough competence to understand it, and if we feel like it's related to our goals and interests. So that's very simple. And now let's talk about what helped me in rediscovering my curiosity. On this YouTube channel, I talked a lot about my gap year. And now that I'm back in university, it's my first semester as a junior. I understand how much taking a year off school helped me get my passion for learning back. Simply having some unstructured time away from the academic environment, allowing myself to feel bored, it brought new ideas to me that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise if I had an extremely overpacked schedule. And now that I'm back, I feel like I have a very fresh perspective on learning and academics. So, to train autonomy, take the responsibility and read the books you want to read. If you're still in school and there's this specific subject that really bores you, but you want to get more curious about it, you can just find interesting YouTube videos, you can find TikToks about it, something that explains the topic in an engaging way, not a dry textbook sort of way. Finally, to fill the need for relatedness, ask yourself, how will this new knowledge benefit me in real life? Whether it's in my career, my personal growth, or just in my ability to have meaningful conversations with others. And you might think that, oh, I'm so boring. I'm not curious about anything. I don't have any interests. That's wrong because I know that everyone is curious about something. That curiosity might just show up in very unobvious ways. It's watching a TikTok about sustainability of Shein, it's getting lost in a thread of trending skincare routine, or like watching some YouTube video about how your favorite Nike sneakers are made. It can be anything. And if you follow those sparks of curiosity, you can discover a complete new field that you didn't know that you were passionate about. A lot of people also think that to want to learn something, you have to be curious about it in the first place. But it's very often in the process of learning you're gaining that curiosity, not before. I really hope that this video was useful. So let me know in the comments what you thought about it, and thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.